Hello race fans and welcome to Motor City, Detroit for the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, the first ever street circuit in this fantastic series. My name is Peter Mackay, ready to take you through all the action for two races today here on the streets of Detroit, and joining me as always in the commentary box is Chaz Draycott. And Chaz, we're heading into the winter here in the United Kingdom. You're needing a bit warmed up. We need some good racing for you to get the blood flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just been complaining before we came on air just how cold it is today. I've been out at the airport all day in the wind and I'm frozen to the bone. But yes, it's certainly going to get hot, and especially very fired up this evening here at Belle Isle. Really looking forward to this one, and especially the fact that it's our first ever street circuit in the championship, as you so rightly mentioned. The drivers are going to have a lot to think about tonight in terms of not even getting close to these walls. You cannot risk it in online racing to get close to walls like this, especially as a lot of them, as we all know, they're not perfectly round, smooth walls, are they? There's somewhere it's jagged sort of blocks of concrete, so you could just nick a rear wheel on them, because these Porsches have got big wide hips on them, haven't they?
They do. You have to be careful for squeezing those hips in between the walls and also the bumps as well. It's such a demanding circuit here at Belle Isle. Wonder who's been putting in the practice here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain paddock. Let's take a look at this schedule though. What a schedule the organisers at the Porsche Club of Great Britain have put together. Kicked off back at the towards the end of September for our Austro-Hungarian swing of the Red Bull Ring and Hungary, the Hungaro Ring. Then we went over to Japan, another new circuit in Fuji for the championship. Then Bathurst 2 weeks ago, and what a race of attrition that was for our drivers. And I suspect as we go past the halfway point of the season, today at Detroit might well be the same. We head to the newly revived F1 friendly Zandvoort in a couple of weeks time, and then, well, two circuits which are key to Porsche's rich heritage in motor racing and particularly endurance racing. Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans and Sebring, a personal favourite of mine, to finish us off just a few days before Christmas. The perfect present under the tree, an endurance race at Sebring. But who will have a championship to treat themselves to at Christmas time? Well, at the moment, Christian Chiruta holds a slender advantage of 12 points over arch rival Johnny Cullen, and really those top two have been the stars of the show so far in the pro standings. But any mistake and Austin Greatorex will be right there to capitalise, sitting in third. Johnny Elias had some strong performances as well in fourth, likewise James Cummings. Mark Johnson, he sits in sixth alongside Mark Baxter Jones. Then it's Rob Sharp, Stuart Clark and Byron Crawford who round out your top 10. In the AM class, well, Ryan Penny, he has been absolutely supreme with a big gap of 26 points, although he has got a little bit of a few ailments that are worrying him so far, so we may not see him out there on track. We'll need to keep an eye out for that one. That could open up an opportunity for Gio Gardner to catch back up the ground that he lost when missing around earlier in the season. Kim Such sits in third, Amrik Sachdev is fourth, and Alistair Hatcher, a newcomer to the championship, sitting in the top 5 there in the AM class. Josh Bailey, Mark Elvin, Alex Owen, Drew Fletcher and Andrew Marston got a bit to get going to score some points and get up into the championship fight. So the drivers are out in their practice session for now, and then they'll go into a 10-minute qualifying session where they get the whole circuit to themselves to set 3 flying laps. But this practice time here, Chaz, very, very important. Get used to the track conditions and get yourself geared up for that quali lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be really, really on it around here, and you have to get dialed in with how certain parts of the circuit treat the car. You know, there's curbs here that will affect the car in different ways to others, and there's little bumps here and there that you need to get used to. So sometimes you'll go into a corner knowing that you're going to have to counter steer on the exit already, no matter what you're doing. So the drivers need to get in tune with that, especially with the conditions having such a massive impact here as well. At Belle Isle, I've seen races here in freezing cold conditions where it's very slippy, and very boiling hot conditions where it's very slippy as well. And there's never really a sort of middle ground, so you have to be very tuned in. It's interesting though, just looking back at the points for a second, that Alistair Hatcher is so close really to the guys even 3 places above him. You know, there's only like 15 points between 3 of them. So over the course of just having one decent night in a championship where there's 2 races like this, if you play the game, you could find yourselves catapulted up the order very quickly.
It's a great point. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that, just how easily it would be to hop into third position past Kim Such. And that's the thing with the AM class, that everyone's kind of had their moment in the sun. It's just been that Ryan Penny's been the most consistent performer. Ryan Penny has made it out onto track, although he might be in a little bit of pain. He's still second in class, right behind Hatcher. In fact, he's only 3,000ths of a second behind. So whatever it is, beware the injured driver. And Ryan Penny doing a brilliant job to be able to do that. I mean, you think of the heroic drives that we've seen in the past in the history of motorsport, of drivers who are severely injured who've been able to get in and drive. I guess maybe no more so than Niki Lauda, with the terrible burns he suffered in his accident in 1976. It was just a matter of weeks before he was back in the car. That would be certainly the one that springs to mind for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Ryan is he's showing great strength here and great determination. He knows that he's got that championship lead, and there would be a number of drivers out there, I'm sure, that would see that lead and think, "No, you know what? I'll take the week off to get better." But Ryan's not taking any chances here. He's staying determined. He is cracking on, and has jumped into the car and is now actually fastest in the AM class with a pro car between himself and Hatcher in 15th overall. It was ridiculously close before a bunch of them went in the pits, actually, in the pro class as well. I think there was about 4 or 5 of them separated by less than a tenth of a second at one point. It was marvellously close. I think there's about 15 thousandths between Cummings and Elia as well, which is just crazy stuff. And it's always good to see just how close it can be. It feels like a longer lap round here, doesn't it, when you drive this circuit? Because it's only about a minute and a half round here in these GT3 cars, but feels like a much longer run than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, 13 corners, and that's 13 real corners, not 13 American corners where they just make them up for additional benefit. But it's a challenge around here. Temporary surface, of course, here in Belle Isle. Sadly, in the outdoor world, they don't race here anymore, which is a real pity, because it's a beautiful facility with some great heritage behind it. Home to America's oldest aquarium, which was built in 1904. Imagine building an aquarium in 1904. Quite a feat.
Was glass even invented then?
I guess it was. Yes. Oh, I've thought of another great heroic injury story, and it's Porsche related. When Steve McQueen very nearly won the Sebring 12-hour back in 1970, driving with Peter Revson in a Porsche 908-2 Flunder Spider. He'd busted his leg in a motorcycle racing accident a couple of weeks before and had it in a Stukie, as we would call it in Scotland. But he basically had a special boot made so that he could drive the Porsche, and they just narrowly missed out, but they were pipped to the post by a certain Mario Andretti.
Wow, that's remarkable. And that's the thing, there are like a lot of hidden gems where drivers may not have made a fuss about injuries before going into a major race like that, and then you'll hear these little inklings that someone wasn't quite at full fitness going into a race, and it's just, again, racing drivers are just a different breed altogether, but sometimes they add even more elements of just amazement on top of that. I don't know why this has popped into my head, but one for me actually remains in my brain on 2 wheels, actually, in the Speedway Grand Prix. The 2000 champion Mark Laram won one of the Speedway Grand Prix. I think it was in Prague, with a torn ligament in his right knee and a broken left collarbone, while racing 3 other lunatics on a dirt bike going sideways around an oval. You have to be off your head.
These guys are made, I swear their skin is made of a different compound. Their muscles are made of a different compound. It just, they're Kevlar muscles that they have, and Kevlar bones, I think, too. I'm quite happy being a commentary box softie, to be honest. Yeah. Mark Elvin, the Kentucky Fried Chicane, well, he wasn't last time out at Bathurst, got himself a class win. It was an amazing performance for Mark Elvin, and we'll ignore that. It was that was 2 weeks ago. It was a great performance. Oh, nearly collides with a passing driver there, but very, very strong, and on the toughest of circuits as well at Bathurst. Amrik Sashdev, it's been a mixed bag this season for Amrik.
Yeah, absolutely has. And, we've seen that from him in a few seasons up to now, actually, where he'd bust out a fantastic victory. He'd hold off a lot of late charges from drivers in some of the reverse grid races. I remember when he won his first class win, actually, on the channel, and we were both going absolutely fun, like just screaming all sorts of great words for him because we wanted to see him take a win in class for so long. And then, you know, he'll have his off nights where he'll either fly under the radar or there'll just be the odd mistake here and there, and he won't sort of recuperate from it as the night goes on. So hopefully tonight isn't one of those nights for him and he gets some solid results on the board. Well, I always think his cars look fantastic as well. They've always got a really good vibe about them with the 360 branding on it.
They do, yeah. I really like the colour scheme. It almost has a ever so slight look of the kind of Lowenbrow Porsche to it. It's just a slightly darker shade of blue than that, but yeah, it's got that kind of air to it. Just 4 minutes left in practice then before the drivers go into their solo qualifying session. Christian Tsuruta is now on top of the timesheet. He wasn't when we came up on air. A 127.933 for your defending champion, the championship leader, the Flying Bogey, as he's affectionately known. And think, why the Flying Bogey? Well, just look at it. Could that be any other colour? I don't know if it's made it onto the Faro and Ball colour chart yet.
No. It's not even in a Pantone book, that one. This one is, though. James Cummings definitely is. This is the, what do we call this one? The Calippo. James Cummings.
It's like, you could have the Calippo Lounge.
Yeah.
There's like a dodgy bar in the wrong end of Glasgow. But
I'm gonna start calling my office that when I get some ice creams in.
But yeah, Christian Tsuruta, fastest at the moment by only 58 thousandths of a second, according to my timing screen, although it seems to have frozen, so I'm going to refresh that because it is 35 thousandths of a second. Johnny Elia is then 33 thousandths of a second off him, and then Johnny Cullen is 32 thousandths off him. That is amazing. There's only a tenth of a second, perfectly a tenth of a second, between the top four. That is just an absolutely amazing demonstration of how close this championship is. And the thing is as well, it's not like that's just initial lap times from them. They've had a lot of time to improve and change those laps, and they continue to just be a tenth apart with four of them. You've got a look of mischief on your face, Peter.
I don't. It's just computing the gaps in between of what that is. Yeah, really impressive. That's just in practice too. Let's see what it is, and I wonder if we'll see the orders shuffle up a little bit when we go into the pressure of qualifying. Because I certainly find it when I'm doing some very much amateur level driving on the sim, I always just seem to make a mess of qualifying, as you know, Chaz, when it comes down to it in qualifying. Just for whatever reason, it's maybe a mental thing, and just can't quite get into the same rhythm, because the thing is, in this series as well, it's fixed setups. You're starting off on a full fuel load and you're qualifying on a full fuel load and trying to get some heat in the tyres and not crash it on the outlap, trying to heat the tyres up. It's a bit of a balance. It's an act. It's an act of nuance.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, and on the surface of it, when you see the regulations and you see how much of a level playing field it is between all the cars, obviously being on this same setup, you wouldn't think there was too much to it or so many little elements to think about as a driver when you go into a race night, but there really are, and the fuel load is definitely one of them. Some people can not worry about a fuel load. They'll just drive the car as it is in that moment and not overthink it. Other drivers will take every single lap into consideration and notice the tiny little differences between one lap to the next, how a car changes direction based on where the weight is, whether it's heavier at the front now because it's got a bigger fuel tank in it, or, well, more fuel in the tank, I should say, or whether it's then lighter and a bit more pointy after quite a long running. But then you obviously have to think about the balancing act between the weight of the fuel against the life of the tyres as well, because obviously the longer you've been running, the less fuel you'll have, it'll get lighter, so surely it'd feel a bit more darty, but the tyres will be worn out. So you have to sort of nurse them, especially in some of the feature races that we have, the sort of secondary races of our nights, which are a lot longer. That's where the sort of tyre wear is going to creep in, especially around somewhere as abrasive as this, because this being a street circuit, it's not the perfect, smooth, beautiful gliding round that you'd expect to do on a purpose-built racecourse.
No, it's far from it. It must be said. And one of the other issues as well here is the opportunity for overtaking. It's quite a difficult place to overtake, and you've got to be patient of where to pick your moves. I would say main moves down into turn 3 at the end of Central Avenue, and also at the end of Strand Drive into turn 7. But when the event here was revived after several years of absence in 2007, the American Le Mans Series came here, and Romain Dumas in the RS Spider pulled off the most naughty move on Emanuele Pirro's Audi. It was just picked his pocket at turn 6, which you look at it, you think there's no way you can make a move there, but he did it and he got the win. So I wonder if anyone can channel their inner Romain Dumas here on the streets of Detroit Belle Isle. You can see downtown Detroit there, just in the back of shot. Some real power brokers in this city, that's for sure. The home of both General Motors and Ford. So off we go then. 3 flying laps allowed here. So the drivers get it. They come out of the pit lane, warm up their tyres on this out lap, and then three time laps, 1, 2, 3 in a row, and see how they go.
One of the interesting factors here about this street circuit as well is something we've just seen there next to Johnny Elia. Between turns 3 and 4 especially, there is actually grass on this street circuit as well. There is an area where you can overdo it, run wide of a curb, dip a left rear wheel onto the grass, for example, and even if you put the fronts on there as well and it sort of drags you off the road, you'll see drivers fighting with the car to bring it back on, and you never know. We could see people just dip a wheel on there and spin it into the wall tonight. It's very easy to do that. That sort of section reminds me of the penultimate couple of corners at Watkins Glen, where you're coming out of a slow corner, really powering onto it, and you've just got that tiny slither of grass wide of the curb. It doesn't look that menacing on the offset, but yeah, as soon as you get near it, you'll realise it is a terrifying, terrifying thing to run over. Johnny Elia feels or seems like he's backed out a little bit of this lap at the moment, winding up to have a go. But let's see what he can do. The first lap is important though, isn't it, Peter? Getting that banker lap in, as we say.
Yeah, Johnny Elia taking it very gingerly on his out lap, and now getting onto the power to come down through Sunset Drive and down over the start finish line. Really tricky right-hander here, trying to just nip the curb on the right, and then off camber left-hander over the crest. And as you said earlier, the car normally breaks away, but was super planted there. Johnny Elia in this new 992 GT3R in its first season of competition this year, and relatively new on the iRacing service as well, but a brilliant machine. And I tell you what, Chaz, Johnny Elia looking super smooth here.
Yeah, he knows exactly where to commit, how to push and where to push. And you made a great point actually about it before we came on air, Peter. Circuit knowledge here is key. You have to know exactly how far the wall is away before you can even see it when you come on the exit of a corner. You have to know and have a precise idea in your mind of when to get on the power and how far to let the car run wide, because it's all about using as much of the road as you can on street circuits, because at the end of the day the concrete walls aren't going to let you use any more than you're allowed, and you have to be the one to take those risks.
No, these concrete walls are going to bite. If you just so much as brush them, you're gonna notice it, and you're gonna have damage, and you really are playing the lottery on whether it's going to just delay you or whether it's going to end your race there and then. That's how punishing it can be. This looks like a very smooth lap from Johnny Elia, and I think such a smooth lap that he can build on that as the tyre temperature continues to build. Just try and repeat that again and in a really good groove, I'd say. Just able to just carry good speed through there. Johnny Elia to the top of the shop then, a 128.640. Paul Goffin just 0.3 of a second off that. Baron Crawford just over 0.3 of a second as well. And we've got the 23 car of Stuart Clark in 4th, and Oliver Carradine in 5th. Alistair Hatcher, oh no, make that Ryan Penny up into 4th overall, top of the AMS.
I was just going to say, I wonder if we can stay with Amrit Sashner for this corner here. Turn 12 and then turn 13. These are two of the big commitment corners here, because you have to carry a lot of speed through them, and you can't see the exit wall when you go into the apex and get back on the power. So you have to know exactly where that wall is. You have to have been around there quite a lot to really gain the trust of the car that it is going to go around there and not break away from you. And there's a massive curb on the inside of turn 13 as well with some grass on it. If you bounce over that, you're going to be in the wall before turn 14. Easy. We're going to see people go in there today, I can tell you that for free. And here is that turn 3 and turn 4 grass section as well. The curb there, you know, it's a very tight curb that you could hit the first part of and then launch the car up in the air on the second bit as well. So if people cut that, there's a big danger there. It's got a lot of different elements to it than a usual street circuit, hasn't it, Belle Isle in Detroit? It's not your usual one where it's just concrete walls everywhere. There is actually a bit of grass and curb to worry about.
Yeah, it's just those little nuances of the circuit that the drivers really got to get used to. As you come down to this quite tricky braking zone, you're sort of you don't have to be turning and braking. You don't really want to get the car straightened up there for the braking zone to increase the braking force, but also to reduce the wear on the tyre as well. But Sashdev, carrying some good speed through the technical section there. Whoa, a little bit wide there. Just a little bit of understeer, strangely, for Sashdev. But this is going to be his first counting flying lap. Oh, they just hit that curb too hard, and it really unsettled the car. That's a couple of tenths away there as well for Sashdev. Let's see what this time is going to be. Up towards the line, you've got Ryan Penny up in third overall. And Sashdev, where does he go? 129.8. He's going to go 12th overall. Tell you what, Penny's in another universe right now in Am.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying up there, third overall in the number 99 car. That is a great initial time by Ryan Penny. Paul Goffin going well as well. We ride on board with him right now, actually, in car 164. Here is turn 13 and 14 again. You could just see, though, as soon as Sashdev hit that first curb, he had to back out of it, and then that affected his run, not just on the exit of 13, into turn 12, I should say, but into 13 as well, and then all the way down the not quite straight start-finish straight. So it really does have a big knock-on effect, and I suppose that's part of the nature of street circuits as well, isn't it? There is a humongous domino effect. If you slow in one corner, you slow for the next 4 or 5 because it really sets you off your racing line, and there's nowhere that you can sort of recuperate around somewhere like this. But Ely are fastest at the moment. We've not seen times from the number 1 machine of Christian Saruta, number 2 James Cummings, or Austin Greatorex either, or Johnny Cullen actually. So there's a bunch of guys that could still go top, but Ely is doing a great job so far.
Yeah, we've certainly seen it from Christian Saruta, waiting till the end of the qualifying session to put his laps in and kind of keeping us in suspense a little bit. But there he is, waiting, ready to go, but not going out yet. So very relaxed as usual. So we'll see if the lap times come in from Cullen and Cummings fairly soon. We normally see them out by now in this time, or this point of the qualifying session. Good to see Peter Brill out there as well in that really loud paint-coloured machine.
Absolutely. Paul Goffin continues to push on and lap. He has to back out of that one though as he goes through turn 12. Johnson's gone up to third place. Mark Johnson's having a good season actually. He's been struggling sometimes with the cars and just with playing the game right, if you know what I mean, over the course of an evening, but it's been great to see Johnson return to the form that we know he's got. He's 6th in the championship, he's 4th in this session. It's Johnny Elia from Mark Baxter Jones. It's always good to have Mark Baxter Jones on the grid as well. He runs in 2nd place at the moment, ahead of Cummings, who has put a time in to go 3rd. Danny Jones is down there in 12th amongst all of the AM drivers, still led by Ryan Penny. He's now only got 2 cars between himself and Alistair Hatcher as everyone continues to improve, as Greatorex goes to 4th place there, Peter. Not a bad lap at all, but he'll definitely want to improve on that.
He will, yes. I think Greatorex have been hoping for more than that, but it does seem that there's a little bit more lap time on the 2nd and 3rd laps in this qualifying run, so Greatorex just building himself into it, I'm sure, in that lovely kind of teal blue, black and white machine for Alpha Esports. We did see Austin running several special liveries over the course of the season, but now he's sticking with his team colours, the Alpha Esports, and he's been a busy boy. He's been doing lots of track days in his GT3 RS as usual, so he's certainly seat sharp anyway.
Yeah, definitely is. Certainly a good peddler is Austin. He's always been exciting to watch, hasn't he, with everything that we've seen from this championship from the very get-go, even from the very first season, and in all of the cars as well. That's one of the things that we often overlook with this championship, I feel. Oh, he kisses the wall there on the exit of turn 11. But one thing, like I say, that we've overlooked, I think, Peter, is the fact that this championship's had so many different cars as its focal point since day one. We've had the 991 Cup car, we've had the RSR, the GTE car, we've had the 992 Cup car, now we've got the 992 GT3R. You know, we've even had we had the 991 GT3 as well for a season, didn't we? And we've at least had it in an event, I think. I don't think we've had it for a full season.
I think we've had the 991 and 992 Cup cars. We've had the RSR, and we've had this one.
Yes.
992 GT3R. Yes.
Yes. They just need to do a full season in the 718 Caymans now and the GT4s because they're a riot.
Well, I think a full season in the 919 hybrid or the 963 GTP car. Yes, please.
Yes.
we want to see. We want to see that. They are brilliant cars. Great to drive.
Maybe not the Mission R.
I've had a quick blast in that, and I actually quite enjoyed it.
I like the look of it.
To drive. You put it in the qualifying mode. It's really fast in the qualifying mode.
I remember first coming out the pit lane and absolutely cacking myself because of how quick it accelerates.
It's quite a thing. Quite a thing. So Tsuruta up to the line then. Let's see what time he can get on the board here. Car number 1, your defending champion, the Flying Bogey, Christian Tsuruta, over the line he goes. 128.719.
I think it counted.
But it did not count, so he must have brushed the wall or gone over a curb or something. Or it was his. No, it can't have been his outlap. It was a 128. So let's go on board then with Christian Tsuruta and see what's what. Another of many drivers in this paddock who run the Lewis Hamilton tribute helmets in various colour shades.
Yeah, Bell helmets must have had a sale on. It's like when people go to like J&S motorcycle centres and always buy like Rossi helmets, isn't it? But yeah,
I was that guy. I was that full kit. Yes, person.
Yeah,
that was close.
Indeed. That was very close.
I had the Dainese leathers. I had the Rossi helmet. I had the lot. I had wobbling into the coffee shop car park.
Oh no!
On my sports bike. Yeah.
Nobody needs to see me in leathers, so I'm going to ignore that one.
Ryan Penny in 8th place at the moment still leads the AMS, but this looks a bit more pushy from Tsuruta. It feels urgent. Feels like he's pushing, especially through there. Through turn 12, that's some of the quickest that we've seen through there. That was gliding through turn 13 as well. Down the run to 14, the long sweeping right-hander. Seems like he's absolutely on it. It's a 128.509. Which puts him in, 525 actually it counts as. That puts him 5th at the moment, so he's really up against it now.
Yep, so this is a pressure lap now for Tsuruta. Cullen, still no sign.
No.
Very interesting. So we're getting word in Austin on our YouTube chat. Hello, Austin. He did a 127.95, but he just tapped the wall, which invalidated his lap, and that would have put him on pole. Damn, that is frustrating for Austin. And Cullen to the top, 127.7. Wow, just that on his first counting lap as well.
Well, that was actually his second one. He did a 137 before that, so I think he must have hit the wall somewhere and then backed out of it. But he was down in 26th position, showing as doing a I think it was exactly 10 seconds off that. He was a 137.7 something, I'm pretty sure. So he wasn't able to get right up there first time, but he's backed out of it, wound himself up for another go, and that is the one that counts. And by 3/10 as well, considering how close it was in practice, that's very impressive. He'll be comfortable with that.
Well, let's see what Tsuruta can do down in 6th overall at the moment. Is this going to be a lap that counts, or is a brush with the wall taken out of the way? He's coming up towards the start-finish line now. Last flying lap then for Christian Tsuruta. What is it going to be? It's a 127.930. That's only good enough for second, but it will be the front row of the grid provisionally then alongside Johnny Cullen. So Cullen answers the call. Now, can James Cummings get up onto that front row of the grid and knock Tsuruta off the perch here? This would mix things up a little bit for race 1.
I think, unfortunately, this is one of his in-laps. It's saying to me on the timing screen that he's done 5 laps now, so I think he's just one of the drivers that sort of continues on in the qualifying session and just gets the extra bit of practice in and just tunes into the conditions. I think Stuart Clark was actually in the pit lane, but he only apparently did 3 laps in that session because it usually shows us as 4 when they've done the out lap and then 3 flyers, and it's showing that Stuart Clark only did 3, so I don't think he maybe completed his final lap, but Cummings at least puts another car on our screens for some more entertainment in the number 2 Calippo. Now, James doesn't always wear the number 2 because he finished 2nd in the championship. That's not a sort of inherited number. That's just the number he tends to run in the campaign. As around the final couple of corners here. Is this Alistair Hatcher? It is. It's another very loud livery as he races towards the start-finish line. He didn't get the memo about the number boards. Crosses the line.
You beat me to it. I thought, is your right eye twitching with the lack of number board?
Oh, God, it is.
As soon as I saw it, I thought Chaz was going to have a meltdown of this.
My left eye's the lazy one, and that one just turned away. That one, that's looking at my office door. But yeah, an interesting session though, Peter. And Johnny Cullen, well, he'll be really comfortable with that lap time. He did a belter there, didn't he?
Yeah, very impressive lap from Johnny Cullen. But our two championship protagonists are going to start together on the front row of the grid. It's really been the story of the season, the head-to-head battle of Tsuruta and Cullen, who is going to come out on top today. And remember, we have two races. We have the sprint race set by the grid order we've just seen decided, and then we have a 20-car reverse for the feature. That's where the points are often won and lost. Johnny Cullen, then your pole sitter, alongside Christian Tsuruta, with James Cummings and Johnny Elia forming a fairly dangerous row 2. Mark Johnson and Paul Goffin will start from the 4th row. Rob Sharp will start 9th, alongside Ryan Penny, your AM class pole sitter. Then it's Byron Crawford and Stuart Clark. Starting on row 7 will be Alistair Hatcher, good qualifying from him, alongside Amrik Sashdev. Then it's the Harry Wilbear, Danny Jones, alongside Kim Such. Then it's Gilles Gardner and Christopher Hart. Row 10 is Oliver Carbadine, slightly steady qualifying for Carbadine and indeed Stephen Kershaw. Mark Elvin will start 21st, then it's Fausto Pinto. For Chris Byram, the Fresh Prince will start 23rd. In your last couple, Alex Owen and Andrew Soper, they start at the back of the grid. 26 cars to take to the start here, and there is Johnny Cullen. Standing start, unusually, here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. These 992 GT3Rs designed for rolling starts, but you can launch them off a standing start, and that is what we're going to do now. So Cullen starting on the front of the grid on the outside line for turn 1. The rest will begin to rise now, ready to let those flat sixes free, ready for 15 minutes of racing here on the streets of Detroit. Green flag in Motor City. Off we go. Good start from Johnny Cullen, and immediately covers off the line from Tsuruta, who got a good getaway as well. Cummings settles in 3rd position. Oh, big pile up. Well, this is what we were worried about. Oh, it's a downtown traffic in Detroit. Oh dear.
Penny's involved in that. Penny was spun around. We've got Goffin around, Amrik Sashdev, who we're focused on right here. Peter Brill has made his way through that as well. It wasn't Paul Goffin, I do apologise. It was Christopher Hart, wasn't it, that got caught up in that in the 196 machine. But I think there was just one spinner that bounced off the wall there, Peter, and that's all it took to block them off. So now Hatcher leads the AMs from Such, then Elvin, and they're 10th, 11th and 13th overall. Very tidy start, though, from Cullen at the front, and you could see Tsuruta wanted to open up that first corner as much as possible. He chucked the car to the left, and I think Elvin's had a drama because he's just dropped a couple of places as well.
Oh dear, we could see a pit lane becoming a little bit busy with drivers coming in for their flash repair, but it's Cullen who leads from Tsuruta, then Cummings, then it's Elia, Austin Greatrex in 5th, Max Baxter Jones in 6th, and this is a disastrous start for our AM Championship leader Ryan Penny, who qualified on pole in class. He's been caught up in that mess at turn 1. And for Alistair Hatcher, he actually has a 6-second advantage over Kim Such, so he clearly made it through all that mess. And Such and the rest behind did get caught up in the melee. And what a lap this is, Chaz, from Johnny Cullen, opening up a 2 or 3 car advantage already over Tsuruta.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. He is so determined to get this done straight away. So here's Byron Crawford. I was going to say, is Byron involved in this? He goes 3 wide through the middle, round the outside, and is that Ryan Penny? He went around the outside of, I'm pretty sure. Then Ryan, so unlucky, just got tagged by another car getting involved in it. But Byron forced the issue there. It's a little bit messy as they all try and recover. But that is such a shame for Ryan, because really, he did a great job to not actually get involved in that too much, and then just one car just clipped him on the exit. Here's another look from distance. Crawford in the middle look. He actually goes across the front of Penny's car. Penny backs out, gets going again, and then just as the other cars come together behind him, that's what tips him backwards.
Yeah, it's chaos there, isn't it? And for Penny now, the main thing he's actually in the pits now. He's got to take a repair. The main thing's get in. There's only 26 cars in the race. Get in that top 20, because remember that the top 20 cars from this race, they are... Oh, now, is that after coming out of the pits? I know.
Yes,
I think this is lap 2, and then it's the damage is too bad, and I think he's going to have to take the tow there. So Ryan Penny, for him, it's get into that top 20, get in the reverse grid, and start from the sharp end of the grid and make the most of that then. So that's the good thing about this format, is it's never, if you have a problem early in race 1, you can recover it. So, and what that is, that's not going to make very pleasant viewing for our cars at the front of the field right now, because they've got to potentially negotiate a similar incident if the same thing happens again next time in the feature race. So let's see. Cullen opening up a good advantage here, 1.5 seconds to the good over Christian Tsuruta, and Tsuruta's under a bit of pressure as well from James Cummings. So are there some championship jitters starting to come in here? We've just gone past the halfway point of the season, this round and 3 more to go, and Tsuruta, you don't normally see him flustered under pressure, but maybe not quite enjoying the tight confines of Detroit Belle Isle.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk versus reward here at Belle Isle, and to be fair, I think Cullen will be really happy to see, if he's looking at his relative that is, that Cummings is right behind Tsuruta, so he'll know that his main championship rival is under pressure right now from a very pokey driver, as there is a big drama behind. That's Christopher Hart into the back of the 72 machine of Andrew Soper. Soper broke very early actually, and then Hart bounced off him and Byron Crawford. Byron's really been in the wars here, but that was shoddy on a number of parts, unfortunately, there, and just all concertinaed together. I think actually Soper was trying to do the clever thing and brake early to get out of that and any potential incident, but then unfortunately Christopher Hart didn't see that one coming and has just absolutely pile-drived him into the rear of the Porsche. And obviously, well, that's where the engine and all the important bits are really in these things, Peter, so it's going to take the biggest whack there, unfortunately, and do a lot of lasting damage.
That's certainly a contender for the John Virgo Trick Shot Award for the day. Certainly in the lead at the moment, but there is still a good bit of racing to go, so we're not going to hand it out just we're not going to hand it out just yet. What a great programme that was. What was it called? What was it called again? It's Snooker and You tonight. Big break. That was it. Yeah, there we go. John Virgo would come on and do a trick shot.
I wish you could all see Peter's mind working away trying to figure that out like I could.
Simpler times. Anyway, Johnny Cullens opened up his gap to 2 seconds at the front of the field, and Tsuruta, but we don't say this very often, he's the cork in the bottle. He's the hope you wouldn't want a bogey in a bottle, would you?
He's the bogey that you can't quite get out. It's really far up your nose. Yeah,
it's stuck up there and you just can't get it out the way. You know it's there because it's blocking your nose, but it's blocking James Cummings, Elia and Greatorex now.
Yeah, we're going to find out now how hard James Cummings can blow his nose, really. I think there was a bit of a tap of the wall there for Greatorex. You've got Elia involved in that as well. And to be fair, Elia's done a great job to creep up to the back of Cummings here, really gradually. And he's in probably the worst case here, actually, is Elia, because he's got Greatorex behind who's at the back of this train and wanting to prove a point and say, right, let's go forward. He'll be like the BMW driver in the fast lane of the motorway here, waiting for everybody else to get out of his way. Whereas Elia is the one that's saying, look, I would get past these guys if I could, but you need to be patient with me. Just give me a moment to try this out. And then Cummings obviously doesn't want to affect Tsuruta's championship. One thing we also need to keep our eye on is, you'll have seen it just there, there was a bit of a puff of smoke and the sound of the car smacking the wall. Sometimes iRacing will pick up these contacts as a little bit of netcode, so we might not see a definite indication of when it actually happens and when they do hit the wall, other than when they're just close. So we'll have to keep our eye on that, because we said it before, these cars have got wide hips on them and they can definitely drag them along the inside of these barriers if they're not too careful.
They do just have a wider stance, particularly this 992 version. It is a physically big car. There's Shield Gardner, he's running 15th at the moment, 4th in the class. Amrik Sarstev behind him, so they're both really caught up in the melee earlier on in lap 1. He's got his sights set ahead on Fausto Pinto. Big hello to Ryan Walker, the other half of Double Scotch. He said the big break was fantastic to watch back in the day. That it was. That it was. I just thought of another livery option, Chaz, that if you're, for maybe Johnny Cullen could sport this. If he's wanting to get into Christian Ceruta's head, he could get a Kleenex livery. And you think, well, why a Kleenex livery? It's like, well, I'm wanting to wipe away the flying bogey.
Yeah, absolutely. One sheet does plenty, they say. Could definitely run something along those lines. But we've got Rob Sharp. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Still, you never know. There's a great sense of camaraderie behind the scenes with these drivers as well. So I wouldn't put it past some of them to sort of play to that and run a livery like that. Christian Ceruta's livery itself, he's literally written the flying bogey all over it now. And the team that he signs up as in another championship is Pilifi Racing, P-I-L-I-F-I, pick it, lick it, flick it. And I just think that is one of the best team anagrams I've ever seen. And I'm a bit upset at myself, actually, because it took me nearly an entire season to figure that out. Still, great race going on at the moment.
I would never have got that, Chaz. No way. Absolutely no way.
Oh, no, I only found out because he told me.
Yeah,
I think he got fed up of me not mentioning it, and he messaged me and said, you know what it means, right? Bless him.
Well, it's a little bit like Flying Lizard, very famous Porsche team. Only 2 people know why it's called Flying Lizard, and it's a very closely guarded secret.
Yeah.
Yes, so Seth Nyman, the team founder, knows what it means, and one other person, and he would not tell me what it is or anything what Flying Lizard means.
I did not know that.
There you go.
I did not know that. Intriguing. Very intriguing.
It could mean all kinds of things.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, now, a little bit deep there for Cummings, who's just dropped back a little bit. We've got a bit of a shuffle of the order in the fight for the top 3. Elia's gone forward, and Cummings has dropped 2 positions, so something...
Sorry, Peter, I think Cummings has got damage on that car. I think it's not behaving. Oh, no!
Whoa.
Into the wall goes Elia. Well...
This is Lyle biting now. Oh, dear. Yes, that's crabbing.
It's like an Airbus in a crosswind.
Yes, coming into land. Yes.
Oh, good.
Right, let's see how Johnny Elia got it. I bet you this will be pretty nondescript. Just that inside wall. And if you say you've never hit that, you're lying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So easy to do.
Oh, wow, and it was like 45 degrees to the right as well to get that thing to go in a straight line. That is nightmarish.
Something quick fit, do your track. Oh, we'll do your tracking for you, sir. Hi, great. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
To be fair, driving my BMWs like that at the moment, to be honest with you.
Put your hand down.
Absolutely hot, yeah.
We have Alistair Hatcher still leading the AM class. He was just on our screen for a moment. He's got this man, Rob Sharp, just up the road from him. Paul Goffin just ahead of him as well. They're just outside of the top 5 now after inheriting a position or 2 between them. But Cullen, he has been so impressive in this race, Peter. He's now getting a lead up near 3.5 seconds. It keeps varying slightly as they go around different corners, but that is a very impressive lead to get over somebody like Ceruta and Greatorex and Cummings. He is really on fire tonight.
Yeah, he's just caught the groove. And you do get this kind of thing happening at street circuits where one driver is just in the zone, to use a cliche, but it's true. At street circuits particularly, you just get in this groove of muscle memory almost, that you're just feeling like you can drive flat out in between the walls without hitting them. Do you know, actually, I find I can get that at Long Beach for some bizarre reason. I just feel like I can get in the rhythm of it and not make mistakes. And it's street circuits do throw up these little changes sometimes. Really cool to see, and a great drive so far from Johnny Cullen. Question is, he's clearly got lots of pace under the car, but coming from 20th on a circuit like this, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tricky, and he's just got to just try and almost focus, make sure he's ahead of Ceruta, and regardless where he finishes, as long as he's ahead of Ceruta, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I think the start for the second race is going to be so important. While the field is bunched up and while there's more opportunity for everybody to be side by side and trying to resolve their issues amongst themselves, he needs to try and take advantage of whatever situation he can find and just get by Ceruta in the opening moments of the race. There's a few tight and twisty bits where everyone will check up. He needs to be in the right place at the right time. So, yeah, it's definitely a case of whether he can overtake around here. I'll mirror what you said, actually, about finding that sort of rhythm. I get that at Bathurst, actually. I was going to mention it last week, but some of my finest moments, I think, on iRacing were at Bathurst, actually. I did a lot of the Bathurst 12 hours there, and as soon as it was night time, they'd just put me in the car and just leave me for a bit, and I'd just churn out lap times. I'm a terrible sim racer. There's a reason I'm a commentator, but for some reason, in GT3 cars at Bathurst, I just came alive, and I enjoyed it there. I was loving watching them here last time out.
All those Ricard Rydell onboards from this 1000 Super Touring days.
Oh, God, yeah.
Brilliant.
With
Absolutely
Murray,
brilliant.
I'll eat pizza with anybody, he says.
Oh, yes.
What a boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if... I'm just going to go on a slight tangent, but speaking of Murray doing laps at Bathurst, our good friend Paul Jeffrey, fellow sim racing commentator, was commentating on TCR Australia and went round Bathurst in a TCR car on the weekend and did a Murray-style commentated lap as a passenger at Bathurst, and I am overwhelmingly jealous of that man. But
That
he
would
is
be cool.
He's earned it, bless him.
Because I bet a TCR you would be really, absolutely on the pipe going over, there. You're really, really taking big chances. I tell you what, you mentioned it at the top of the show, Chaz. Alistair Hatcher came into this round 5th in the championship in AM, and a class win here is going to vault him, by my calculations, certainly up close to Kim Such, who's 2nd in the AM class right now. And Mark Elvin, another strong drive from Mark Elvin.
You say that?
No.
Oh,
that's the. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He's Kentucky Fried. Cursed it.
That was the purest strain of commentator's curse.
He's fried it.
As I said, great drive from Elvin down the timing up. Oh, good grief!
What on earth was that? And then
who's that he took with him? The Pinto.
I think it was Pinto. Yeah, Pinto's lost time and he's coming to the pits. That
looks like a technical failure. Looks like the throttle stuck open.
Yeah, look, it's still. What on earth? Good lord. Yeah, you can hear it's still on the throttle and it's still trying to turn right. Something has gone very wrong there for Elvin.
Yep.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Pity. Yeah, so it's fine here. Up the gearbox. 2nd, 3rd. He was in 4th when he had the crash. That's very, very weird.
Yeah, usually you'd see the wheel just go completely straight and disconnect, or the car would slow down, but it was like the throttle stuck open. It was like the pedals just completely disregarded any other inputs.
Yes, yeah, and we just tried to turn it and couldn't. To more of a pedal failure than anything. Well, the checkered flag is in the air, ready for Johnny Cullen, who has absolutely dominated this race. I would say the most dominant performance of the season from any driver. 5.8 seconds to the good from championship rival Christian Tsuruta. Now, the points are awarded the same, but the psychological blows, they come in all shapes and sizes. Yes, Tsuruta is the next car on the road in 2nd, but to see your championship rival smoke away 6 seconds, that stings the ego a little bit. Not that Christian has one, of course, but it really does make you sit up and think. And going into this feature race, Tsuruta's going to have to pull something from deep down to try and match this man here, Johnny Cullen, who comes around the final corner now, and he.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no.
Well. Oh, that was, well, we thought that was the internet connection just having a bit of a stutter there, but we can say now, take a deep breath. Johnny Cullen is your winner here at Detroit. What we've just witnessed there, folks, is Johnny's internet just having a ever so slight brief cut, thankfully not for long. So he did manage to get the car to the end, but that was a bit of a heart starter there. Alistair Hatcher, 8th overall, and wins in the AM class again in car number 964. Brilliant stuff from Hatcher, and he's really getting into his stride. Could he mount a late challenge for the championship? Let's see.
You never know. Here's Amrit Sashdev in the thick of it as well. He's got Jill Gardner just in front, who's going to take a podium in the AM class. Just behind him, you've got Stuart Clark, Chris Byram and Mark Johnson, all recovering from the earlier incidents. We look a bit further back here to Alex Owen in 17th position. He's just chasing down Fausto Pinto, who's recovering from his earlier smash with Mark Elvin. Alex just guiding the car through turns 9 and 10 into 11. Nice and tidy on the exit there. You have to be very careful of the tyre wall that sticks out quite far away from the concrete section of the barrier. It looks like Alex has had a few knocks himself, actually, on the front of this car. It's not quite as beautifully carved and moulded as it would have been when the race started, but he's got it to the end. And it's important here to look at the positions because, of course, the reverse grid, Peter, is the main talking point for race 2.
It is. So your winner then, Johnny Cullen, your winner by 6.2 seconds after 11 laps. Quite a number. Christian Cerruta got it home in second, with Austin Greatorex finishing up on the podium. James Cummings got it home in fourth, with Mark Baxter Jones rounding out the top 5. Then it's Paul Goffin in 6th and Rob Sharp in 7th. And Alistair Hatcher, 5th place in the AM Championship right now. Well, not for long after that class win, and 8th overall. Stephen Kershaw was 9th, and Kim Such 2nd in the AM class. Great drive from Kim in the overall top 10. Jill Gardner on the class podium once again in 11th, and it was Amrik Sashstev. Stuart Clark, Mark Johnson, Chris Byram and Fausto Pinto finishing a little bit further down. Good drive though from Chris Byram from the back of the grid, don't forget, up to 15th. Alex Owen was 17th. Then it was Andrew Soper, Oliver Carwadine and Johnny Elia will make an all 11/10 racing front row of the grid for the feature race. Peter Brill was 21st, and then several drivers finishing off the lead lap. Danny Jones, Ryan Penny, your AM Championship leader, Mark Elvin, Christopher Hart and Byron Crawford. Unsurprisingly, your fastest lap of the race, a 1:27.928 for Johnny Cullen on the 9th lap. That's a qualifying level lap time on the 9th lap of the race, Chaz. That's mighty impressive.
That's very, very impressive. The fact that he still had the confidence and the tyre life to still go for that late on. I mean, lap 9 doesn't sound that bad in terms of tyres, but with the pace that these guys have got, knowing how short the race is, they really do push the tyres in these sprint races. They get every little bit of life out of them over the course of the 15 minutes. And yeah, that is certainly epic pace, that by Mr. Cullen. And a well-deserved victory as well. Certainly, like you mentioned, Peter, a sort of mental blow to our current championship leader, Christian Cerruta. He will have had that one on his radar now, and Johnny will take a bit of a mental advantage, I think, into the second race of the night. But obviously this one's a lot longer, so the drivers have a bit more time to figure out the differences and obviously go for moves and defend said moves as well. Hopefully that means we get a bit more of a chilled start in this one. Byron Crawford mentioned in the Discord server earlier that he was stuck in the middle with nowhere to go, but I feel that he sort of put himself in the middle there, and that was not the patient start that we were expecting from some of the drivers. I know that Ryan Penny will be certainly hard done by after that one, and hoping to at least just score some points for his AM Championship charge.
There almost wasn't enough Detroit real estate there to fit 26 Porsches through.
Yeah,
it was almost a physical certainty that there was going to be contact at some point, and that's what the two championship leaders have kind of almost got. They're kind of playing Russian roulette here. They're starting the two leading cars in the championship, I should say. Christian Cerruta leads from Johnny Cullen still, but Cullen did narrow the gap slightly in that last race, but they're going to start 19th and 20th. They've got to potentially negotiate something like that, and if it doesn't happen at turn 1, it can easily happen further along, and it's more likely to happen when you reverse the grid as well, because everyone's out of position. So really tricky for those two drivers. Where there is a huge opportunity is for Johnny Elia and Oliver Carwadine, particularly Elia, who set some good pace in qualifying. He's going to start in the front row. Yes, race 1 made a very small mistake which ended his race, really, but actually it's in a strange way he's going to be on pole position for the feature, and it's a chance to get away early and build a bit an unassailable gap early on.
Yeah, that's the thing in a championship like this where reverse grids are included and part and parcel of the event. You have to play the game. You have to know where you're going to be over the course of a night and make the most of certain scenarios that you're not always going to find yourself in. There will be drivers that may get to the front of a reverse grid. They'll take it a bit too easy and they'll drop a bunch of positions and they won't get the chance to be at the front of it again. So, you have to just push and go for it. There is no excuse not to in these sprint races, really. That's the whole point of it. It is a sprint. You have to just go for it. Take every opportunity you can. These are not 1 hour or 2 hour endurance races like we see on other nights in the championship. So there's certainly okay. There's certainly a focused type of approach that needs to be taken around Belle Isle tonight. And I'm really looking forward to this second race, to be fair, because there's going to be certain drivers that know exactly where they can make moves here and really plan them meticulously. And there's going to be other drivers that struggle to make it through the pack.
I think as well, this is going to be an even bigger test of concentration as well, because 15 minutes is tough enough, but 25 minutes to not make errors lap after lap here at Belle Isle is seriously difficult. So this is don't underestimate the challenge that the drivers are about to take on here. We'll take a short look at our grid then. Johnny Elia and Oliver Carradine, your front row. Then it's Andrew Soper and Alex Owen, Fausto Pinto, Mark Johnson. They make up row 3. Starting on row 4 will be Chris Bynum and Stuart Clark. Then it's Amrik Sashdev and Gilles Gardner, with Kim Such and Stephen Kershaw making up the 6th row of the grid. Row 7 is your AM winner from race 1, Alistair Hatcher, alongside Rob Sharp. Then it's Paul Goffin and Mark Baxter Jones. James Cummings and Austin Greatorex are your 9th row. Then your 2 championship protagonists, Christian Tsuruta and race 1 winner Johnny Cullen on row 10. Then it's Peter Brill, Danny Jones, Ryan Penny and Mark Elvin. And your back row is Christopher Hart and Byron Crawford. So 25 minutes on the clock. Johnny Elia on pole position. Who's your money on? Let's find out. The revs begin to rise. Ready to go racing again. Here on the streets of Detroit, off we go. Down towards turn 1 they go, and it's a great start from the 11-10th racing pair of Elia and Carradine. And now here comes the train. Here comes the melee of cars coming through turn 1 and 2. But I tell you what, unusually for the reverse grid, they've all made it through safely as they fan out, heading down Central Avenue, down towards turn 3. Great opportunity for overtaking. It's also an opportunity for issues as well, as they all narrowly go through too, but they've all made it through safe-ish.
Fausto Pinto with a great send there down the inside into turn 3. There's a little bit of contact in the middle of the pack there. Tiny bit of touch this way and that way. That's car 44 of Kim Such in the middle of the field. He's got pressure from behind now. Is that number 8 of Mark Baxter Jones behind him? It is. Mark trying to look this way and that way. He's got then Cummings and Greatorex and then Tsuruta, who's now actually got a car between himself and race 1 winner Johnny Cullen. I believe that is Paul Goffin in there in car number 164 in that position. It was almost AI-esque as they all went round the first couple of corners. Everybody stayed beautifully 2x2. That's a very committed move down the inside by Baxter Jones. Really sends the message. Greatorex gets back in front of Cummings. There was a check-up in the background there. And I worry that Johnny Cullen got hit.
I think Cullen, yes, I think you're spot on there, Chad. I think Cullen maybe ran into the back of I think it was Goffin.
Goffin was in front of him.
Yes, and it was really nowhere to go. It was in such a big bunch. But as we thought, the 11-10th racing crew, they've got a chance to make a break at the front of the field. Elia followed by Oliver Carradine and Fausto Pinto in 3rd place now in the 101 car. And here we're going to get a look at it. Yep, there it is. Oh, and Cullen got a nudge on both ends of his 992.
That's what I was concerned about. I thought that he'd been turned around because he was on the lock to go left. I thought that just that tap of the rear would have upset the car. Alex Owen going slightly backwards here as he's now under pressure from Amrit Sashdev. Alex doesn't want to give these places up. He's got Stuart Clark trying to go through in the 23 car. He's now going around the outside. This is going to get nasty now. Alex is just trying to do everything with best intentions here. There's a car in the wall, and that is Andrew Soper in car 72 that is off. There's a lovely blue cone. And Andrew is now the man in the pit lane and dropping places. Alex Owen also dropping down. I was just going to say Alex was doing everything with the best intentions to not get in people's way there, but I think he was doing it too aggressively and it was just choking the pack, and all of a sudden everything came to a stop. This is on board with Andrew Soper, I believe, Peter.
Oh, and just horrible understeer there. Just carried too much speed in, and just one mistake and that's it, done. It's such an unforgiving circuit. Soper's managed to get going again, and just got to try and limp it back to the pit lane as best as he can. He does have a repair, but is he going to go into the pit lane though?
No, he is. That was Kershaw. That one that was just going through. They have just this plain black livery each, I believe. But yeah, they certainly caught me out then as well. I thought, how did he get back into the pack? Yeah, I wondered how he got right into the middle of the pack again. There is what you dubbed the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air earlier on. Jazzy Jeff making his way down into turn 3. Chris Byram, the Chris Akabusi Byram tracksuit car. Mark Johnson behind him in the gorgeous Brumos colours. And Johnson's still going well here. I think he's going to certainly get some good points from this race if he keeps it nice and tidy, because he's making the most of that reverse grid. That Cuda e-Motorsports car looks so cool, doesn't it? Especially on the 992. Really, really good looking bit of kit, if that's what you're into anyway. But these guys could maybe work together, I suppose, to try and get a podium position, Peter. What do you reckon?
It's certainly eye-catching, isn't it? It's kind of like Austin Powers Curtains, that car. It's certainly loud. Elia, wow, what a gap he's opened up at the front of the field. 4.6 seconds from his teammate Oliver Carradine. And you know, that's exactly what he needed to do, to try and build a gap early that is going to be impossible for Cullen and Tsuruta to catch. I mean, Tsuruta, he's only up to 16th. Normally, by this point on other more open circuits, we'd see him make faster progress than that, but there just simply isn't the room to make the overtakes here at Detroit as there are on other circuits. And likewise, Cullen, where has he got to? Johnny Cullen is in 17th, so he's one spot behind his championship rival.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a case of now just not overdoing it, because you can always just have a look at your relative and see how your rivals are getting on, see where there's potential positions and what drivers could see as easy pickings. You can't get impatient because of that, though. Looks like Tsuruta's actually having to defend from Johnny Cullen in the background now as well. The two of them glued to each other down towards the inside line. Cullen moves to the left-hand side. He's going to try and go around the outside of turn 3. Here they are on our screens right now. We've got Goffin still behind them. Cullen clearly hasn't taken any damage from that earlier hit, but this is literally the two championship protagonists fighting away now for, well, the scraps of the championship points here, Peter. This won't make much of a difference. Gilles Gardner and Kershaw are both dropped places. Cummings is going slowly, and Tsuruta, well, it gets a freebie out of that. Wow.
Yeah, Tsuruta, yeah, and having Cummings behind you is definitely a good buffer there to Cullen. Meanwhile, Alistair Hatcher, who's having a great day at the office. Whoa, there's big moves going on all behind him. Two, hurrah. Into turn 7, 8, 9, which all come together quite quickly here as they sweep round the left-handers of turn 10 as well, and then into the sharp right-hander of 11. And there goes Cullen as that was a big move, and fair play to Kim Such. He saw that move coming and he thought, right, I can either hold my line and we have an accident, or I give the room, and he decided to keep his race alive. Very aggressive from Cullen, very, very aggressive, quite risky, but it paid off, and no buffer now for Tsuruta. He's got Cullen right on his tail.
Well, I was more worried that Cullen was going to overdo it and run into the right rear corner of Tsuruta's car as well, actually, there. But luckily, he didn't do that. Tsuruta's actually just found himself sort of accidentally making a move on Kershaw, who had a really poor run through the first couple of corners. Tsuruta is now offline. He's on the inside line. Cullen moves to the inside, and he's going to go for it. They both sort of hesitate to go for the inside line. Kershaw gets out of it. Whoa, nearly gets his nose cut off there by Cullen as they go through turn 3. Now Cummings has to take avoiding action on Kim Such in the background as well. This is very feisty stuff. We know that there's a lot of risk here, Peter. We're not even at sort of race 1 distance left to go. These drivers are really throwing themselves at everything here, as if there's not concrete walls a few metres either side of them.
No, and I think this is maybe when Tsuruta's lack of outright pace compared to Cullen at the circuit on this day is maybe going to show, because we know how good Tsuruta's racecraft is. He's a former Caterham racer in the outdoor world of motorsport, so knows how to run in traffic very well, but just doesn't quite have the outright lap speed of Cullen today. So as the field begins to thin out, this maybe is going to be more difficult for Tsuruta to keep Cullen at bay. Oh, slight puff of smoke from the back of Such's machine there. What was going on there?
Not quite sure, actually. There's a car in front as well going slowly. I think that is number 27 moving out of the way. It is indeed. That's Gilles Gardner. He says, after you guys. Cummings is now on the outside. Oh, Cummings has been done in there. Manages to still make it work. But Tsuruta was really slow through turn 12, and actually, Cullen had to get out of it there. He had to slam on and not go into the back of Tsuruta. And the thing is, if a driver following doesn't have the same awareness as Cullen, then it could cause a championship ruining incident as Gardner's gone in deep. Oh, and he's going to stop. Such stops as well. Crawford's involved. Flipping out. Byron Crawford's had a real rough night of it this evening, hasn't he? He's going to need a lie down after this one. Close the blinds, Byron. Down the inside he goes. And finally gets the move done. But wow. Lively couple of moments for all of these guys, really. I don't think anybody's had a normal lap yet.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if Eminem comes on the radio tomorrow, he's going to be hitting the skip button straight away. I don't want to hear anything about Detroit anymore. I hate the place. He won't be going there on his holidays, will Byron Crawford. I don't care how good the blind market is. I'm not going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buy someone else.
Oh, was that Goffin getting into the wall there? I think he might have just run a little bit wide through turn 8 and just glanced the wall with the right-hand side of the car. Doesn't seem like it's badly damaged or anything. That tyre wall on the exit of turn 11 is so evilly placed. It sticks out just enough that if you are running wide to hit that wall, it drags the car in even further. You'll only ever hit the left rear on that tyre wall. You'll never hit the front end of the car on it. It is so evil. At the front end of the field, though, it's nothing evil about the 11 tenths, guys. They are absolutely smashing it at the moment. Johnny Elia, well, he's more than 11 tenths clear. He's 6.7 seconds clear of his teammate Oliver Carwadine. Fausto Pinto holds on to third place, but this is the gap, i.e. lack of, with Chris Byron behind him. Chris looks down the inside. That was very forceful, but was never going to work for Chris. I think he's just trying to put him off at this point and obviously play the game and fill his mirrors. They've got some traffic in front of them as well, actually, which is number 72, Andrew Soper, and I think Peter Brill in there as well, actually. These guys both lap down. Brill moves out of the way. Soper doesn't. Brill has moved way out of the way now. That's good of him. Soper is, I think, decided to move. Or has he? Carwadine has to force a move down the inside. He's now lost a lot of time to Pinto. Byram's going to lose time in there as well. Soper now moves out of the way and the guys go through, but you could see just the difference in awareness there, I'm afraid to say, from Peter Brill. Saw this sort of pack of guys coming, threw the car out of the way, quite literally. Soper decided to stay in it and give it a few more corners and then sort of made a bit of a nuisance of himself there.
Yeah, just a little bit difficult to get around for the other drivers there.
Stu.
Side by side here.
That was not. I'm sorry, Peter. That was naughty. In a good way. That was naughty because Sashdev had to sort of back out for the traffic there, and Stuart Clark went, "Oh, room for a small one. Thank you." Straight through the middle.
Yeah, he roasted through there. The Stuart. 9.4 seconds at the front of the field. Elian taking full advantage and really getting into his groove. And you would think, having made the mistake in race 1, he might be driving a little bit tentative, but no, not a bit of it. You can't draw that kind of gap out without full confidence behind the wheel. Pinto now really putting the heat on Carwadine. Whoa, talking of heat, gee whiz, Cullen all over the back of Tsuruta, and they're right up behind Austin Greatorex. And for Cullen, it's hard to tell. He does have a little bit of battle scars from those checkups early on, but it doesn't seem to be holding him up too much.
No, not at all. I'd say he's definitely confident to be all over the back of Tsuruta's car once again. He's putting the pressure on, and at the end of the day, they're in the championship fight now. You could say that, yeah, sure, sit there and have a bit of damage limitation in terms of the points, but why would he not throw the car down the inside? Why would he not fill Tsuruta's mirrors and just try and get into his head, try and unsettle him? It's so much easier to get somebody to make a mistake around here than it would be at a much wider circuit like, I don't know, somewhere awful like Paul Ricard. Chris Byram's lost a place to Mark Johnson, but Cullen now, he's just working on the mental games here. He's getting into his head. I think Greatorex or Rob Sharp have just hit the wall in front as well. Sharp's taken a while to get past Hatcher here, who's holding on really well. Second place in the AMS, 9th place overall.
The only thing that Cullen's got to be super careful of, though, is the aero wash from particularly these latest generation GT3 cars. They're heading up towards GTE levels of aero work on them, and what it means is the air coming out the back of them can be quite turbulent. And just saw one moment there in a kind of right angle corner where Cullen just front end just washed out and he nearly ended up in the wall. So he definitely has to put Tsuruta under the car, get as close and up and personal as possible, but has to be wary of that kind of how difficult it can be sometimes to follow the car in front and not get caught out.
I imagine there'll be a bit of turbulent air coming out of Rob Sharp as well right now as he screams at Hatcher in front of him to try and get by. Now, Hatcher is under no obligation to let him through. They may be in different classes, but he doesn't have to as Greater X goes deep. And Saruta gets a clip on the way through, but, well, Saruta made that one work beautifully. Oh, Greater X sideways. Cullen's going to try and come through, squeezes him. There's a bit of contact around the outside. He goes. Is he going to make that work all the way around turn 10 into 11? I think he is. He's going to leave just enough room on the apex. No, he's not. He's not going to leave enough room on the exit. There's contact between the two of them, and Cullen is dragged sideways down the straight. And, well, it was coming, unfortunately. He didn't leave the room on the exit. I'm not sure whether that was down to them hooking together as they left the corner, but it was certainly what finished it off for them. I don't think Greater X particularly did much wrong there. Here's another look, Peter.
Yeah, Cullen decided it was time to go, and yeah, you've got room on your right. You've got room on your right there for Cullen. He doesn't need to take that risk. He had time to straighten the wheel up, had time to move over to the right. So you can just see here, so they're side by side. They are giving each other room. And now, just at this point here, I do wonder if they maybe got hooked together and Cullen couldn't get out of it, possibly. But for Cullen, that is a real blip in judgment there. You've got to be patient, and how costly will that be in the championship chase? Very much advantage Saruta. Whoa, not advantage Chris Byram. There's a bit of a half spin there. Whoa!
Great avoidance.
Yes.
Absolutely solid avoidance by the guys behind there. I think that was Amrik Sashdev in car number 9, and then Hatcher going through as well. This is Paul Goffin, another replay. He's had a spin now as well. Well, these guys don't want to finish this race now, Peter. I tell you, they're going to be dropping like flies if they carry on. But yeah, it's a real shame to see that incident, and that's going to have big championship implications. The one man that's going to be very, very pleased, and you know, you're never pleased for your competitors to have a bad time, but I think relieved is probably the word right now for Christian Saruta.
I think he'll be grinning like a Cheshire cat right now, because he had to work hard to get that move on Greater X, and it all kind of triggered where Greater X just made a bit of a mistake going into turn 7. That allowed Saruta through, and that then kind of threw him into the clutches very quickly, probably quicker than Cullen quite expected, and then it was all on instinct from there. So yeah, very, very close. Alistair Hatcher in a great position to try and do the double in AM here, but does have Amrik Sashdev on his case, and a whole cast of pros right up behind them.
He's in the GT3 touring spec now as well, by the look of it, Peter. I don't seem to see a rear wing on Hatcher's car.
You're right enough. Yes.
He's in the Le Mans spec now.
Yes, that is, well, he's just significantly enhanced the value of his GT3 by turning it into touring spec. He's obviously been down to his local, he's also obviously been down to Porsche Centre Chester and got an allocation from Carl Hazleton.
I was going to say, Carl will be on the phone instantly at that one.
Yeah.
He'll be like, hey, I can see that.
Good price.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely a paint to sample colour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Each one of them.
Cards red, that is not.
No, it's not quite a spec that everyone will be after, I don't think, but still.
Seal grey.
Yeah. It's not it's not a well, it's not one you'll ever see again, let's put it that way.
But now Sashdev's in a difficult situation because he's going to want to push like mad to chase down Hatcher, seeing that damage, but also he's going to want to do this. He's going to want to get out of the way of the pros. I would, if I was Sashdev right now, he's not getting out of the way of the pros because Saruta's got to force the issue, try and come down the inside into turn 3, gets it done. I was going to say, if I was Sashdev, I'd sort of let one or two of the pros go if possible, and not do that basically. And then try and sort of use them as a key to unlock the door at getting past Hatcher. Sashdev makes himself a bit of a nuisance. He doesn't have to get out of the way of James Cummings, but James has tapped the wall, and now he's lost a place to Greater X in the process.
Difficult one. It's a very difficult one to manage there for Sashdev. Yeah, and the thing is, I think it could come back to him here for Sashdev, because you know that Hatcher's going to get roughed up by all of those pros that have just gone through on Cummings. So he's just got to be patient and wait for it to come back to him, because Hatcher's, especially without the rear wing, he's going to be in a world of pain for the next few laps as the pros all try and make their way past in a hurry. So yeah, a little bit of patience for for Amrik Sastev here, and it should come back to him.
I do wonder how much of that is cosmetic in the sim in terms of that damage with Hatcher's car, and how much of it is actually affecting him, because
it's normally
sometimes
big when it happens.
I was going to say it normally is very relative in terms of what you can see to what you can feel, and well, we certainly saw that, and I'm sure Mark Johnson felt that as well. That is a wallop into the wall at turn 2. I wonder how much that car is going to behave itself, and whether that's going to be what we call a meatball flag, because that was, it's made the car about 6 inches narrower, hasn't it? That was a good old whack.
Yeah, and I would think the steering might well be bent at the very least there for that 11 car. Oh, and scratch the Brumos paintwork as well. No. I don't want that. The wheels look fairly straight.
Rapid and all.
Yeah, it's all over the back of Pinto. So yeah, they build these Porsches tough. That's for sure. They've been built with the maybe it's a Access, a 911 Dakar with the GT3R body kit on it, possibly.
Well, it's made of Toyota Hiluxes. But still,
911 Dakar, apparently they are, not apparently, I'm told firsthand, they are built, they are built tough.
Brick houses, yeah?
Brick houses, yes. They're built like a house made of brick, yes. And 2 days in a test facility in the south of France, driving into rocks on purpose, and they couldn't break them.
Looking heck, I'm surprised they didn't give up driving them into rocks halfway through.
It might well be a fashion accessory, but they are tough.
Fair play. I'm kind of glad that my joke went under the radar then, in a way. Johnny Elia still leads this race. 7 seconds to the good now. And even then, Carwadine's got a good few seconds over this battle that we have on our screens right here. Pinto, Johnson, Clark as well. Stuart Clark's done really well in this race, actually. He's sort of been under the radar himself in car number 23. And he's going to have seen Mark Johnson's contact with the wall on that previous lap and want a piece of the pie now. He's going to think, potential opportunity at a podium here for Stuart. And I'm sure he will not take any opportunity for granted right now. Hatcher has lost a place to Saruta, but he's not going to mind that too much because he's got a very healthy lead in that class now. He's 7 seconds ahead of Sashdev with a good few cars between them as well. That's always a nice buffer to have, isn't it?
It is. And Johnny Cullen has got back going after taking the tow. He's in 22nd position overall. So a very low point score it's looking like for Johnny Cullen after, and that's going to be so frustrating because he had the pace for so much more and just hasn't gone his way in this feature race, unfortunately. Saruta now up into 7th overall. He's just gone past Alistair Hatcher, so no position gained in terms of the pro class for Saruta, but overall in a good spot is Saruta. And yeah, all he'll be concerned about is putting a big score on Cullen, his championship rival, with 3 rounds remaining. So very, very, very interesting stuff. And we've got, of course, 2 to finish the season at Le Mans and Sebring. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely awesome way to end the championship, and we're going to be squealing through both of the final couple of races. You know what, Peter? I'm going to say this. My money's on Baxter Jones here because I feel like Johnson's going to get a little bit worried about the guys behind. Maybe push a little bit hard with what could be a slightly damaged car. Pinto's going to defend very hard here. We know that Fausto's a very, very hard defender. He doesn't take any positions lying down. And Stuart Clark, I think he's going to try and be the innocent bystander here, but I think Baxter Jones is just going to have that little bit more opportunism about him, and he's going to pick these guys off. He's got a few seconds back to Saruta, so unless the battling is very intense, they're not going to lose too much to him. But I'd keep my eye on the 4th car in this little quartet here, Baxter Jones in the 11/10 machine, because we could see 3 11/10 cars on the podium, and I'm sure after how their night started earlier on, they'll be much happier with that.
They will. They will be very pleased. So and you can never write off Mark Baxter Jones as a quality driver, and shows you how quick it is. The sensation. Whoa, big move from Stuart Clark there. Innocent bystander, I'm not sure. It's a way up.
Oh no!
Oh, Johnson's off.
It's opportunism,
and that is Clark who's got held up there, and now Mark Baxter Jones, Mystic Chaz, You called it.
Absolutely. Opportunism from Mark Baxter Jones. Wiley Fox. I mean, sure, the opportunity came to him. Oh, Mark Johnson just ran into the back of Pinto. Pinto was very lucky not to be the one that ended up in the wall there, actually. Mark was following as closely as he could to try and get a run off the corner, and he must have just tapped the back of that diffuser on Pinto's car, and it was like a force field just sort of chucked him off, and it said, nah, if you want to follow that closely, mate, go and have a sniff of that wall. See you in a bit, sunshine. But look, as soon as Baxter Jones now has cleared Stuart Clark, he's pushing like mad. He is going for it to chase down Fausto Pinto with a minute and a half left. One more lap of this race now, Peter. There is all opportunity for 11 tenths to have 3 cars on the podium. That would mean the world to them. And one of the top guys in the team as well, Johnny Elia, who continues to lead this race.
Yeah, 7 seconds to the good is Elia over Carbadine. It's a solid drive from Carbadine, it has to be said too. He was under pressure early from Pinto, has managed to rebuff that attack and pull away. But yeah, for Baxter Jones, he's trying as hard as he possibly can. Yeah, to get a 1-2-3 for 11 tenths racing, that would be really, really special. They're a crew that race together regularly in the sim, but also in the outdoor world as well. They compete in the Enduro Car series as well, with their Ford car painted up in exactly the same way that the sim racing cars are. Mark Baxter Jones, he had a little look at the inside there at turn 3, but can't get the move done.
I don't think I've ever seen a real world championship with as much of a sense of humour as the Enduro Car series. There are some unbelievable liveries in that championship, all of them playing puns with the just simple KA name. And it is great fun. I've had a number of friends racing that, as well as the 11 tenths guys. It's a great championship to be a part of, and doesn't cost a lot of money to do either, by the look of it, compared to a lot of other series. Anyway, racing is never cheap, but still, in that sense, it is certainly great value for money. The clock is just ticking to 0 now, so Johnny Elia will complete this lap and complete the race, but there's still plenty of battles to be resolved here, Peter, and I don't think this is over at all.
No, and Alistair Hatcher has hung on so well. He's going to have another dominant AM class win if he can hang on for another couple of corners. And really, it's great direction. They're going to have a little peek up the inside of Sharp. No, not quite. But up at the front, Johnny Elia wins at Detroit. What a drive for the 11 10th racing driver. Carbadine will come home in second, but who is going to get the last spot on the podium? It's going to come down to a photo finish. Mark Baxter Jones pops out, but Pinto holds him off just about. Close stuff there. And great drive for Suruta. Came home in 6th. Valuable championship points with Cullen far down the order. And what about our AM winner, Alistair Hatcher, in the GT3R Touring? Well, what a performance.
I was going to say, if removing the rear wing hadn't already increased the value by enough, how about a double class winner at Detroit as well to add to its CV? He'll be over the moon with that one, and I'm sure Carl will be adding another 0 to the check, or knocking 20% off. Either way.
What a free limited edition Porsche mug.
Yeah, that's absolutely. It comes with that. If the mug's included, I'm happy. Alex Owen coming to the line here with
maybe not the alloy wheel protection though, come on.
Yeah, well, there's paperwork, right?
Yes, exactly. Johnny Elia, your winner by 7.7 seconds over Oliver Carbadine. Then it's Fausto Pinto rounding out the podium, just denying a podium sweep for 11 10th racing. Mark Baxter Jones was 4th and Stuart Clark finished in 5th. Christian Suruta fought his way through, dodged the danger and got home in 6th place and solidifies his championship lead with 3 rounds to go. Alistair Hatcher, well, the man of the moment, 2 AM class wins, came into this round 5th in the AM standings. He certainly won't leave in that position. He'll be looking very good. Rob Sharp was 8th with Austin Greatorex 9th, and James Cummings rounds out the top 10. Coming home in 11th was Byron Crawford with Anrik Sashdev in 12th. Then it was Ryan Penny. Good drive from Ryan, gritty drive from the outside the top 20 to finish 13th, and a good class finish. That's how you win championships. Kim Such was 14th. Then it was Stephen Kershaw in 15th. Then it was Mark Johnson, a little scrape of the wall for him. Jill Gardner, slightly quiet finish in 17th. Then it was Paul Goffin, Alex Owen, and well, Johnny Cullen, 20th overall after that clash with Austin Greatorex. What a pity. Chris Byram, again, a story of what could have been for the Fresh Prince in 21st. Christopher Hart, the winner of the John Burgo Trick Shot Award for this round here at Detroit. And it was Peter Brill, Andrew Soper, and Danny Jones and Mark Elvin not making it to the flag. So, fairly thrilling encounter here at Detroit Belle Isle, and one of our podium finishers, Fausto Pinto, I imagine, will be full of the joys right now, and he is with our very own Chaz Draco.
Fausto, welcome to the commentary box, my friend. You must be very, very pleased with that podium. A great way to finish your evening. Talk us through the race.
Another race, another very, very difficult race. Detroit is a very hard track. It will also make it easy for anyone, and it's a very, very hard track to overtake. Second race it was just brilliant. I could manage the car and stay in front in the very last lap of Axel Jones, that I was really, really afraid because he was coming really, really fast. And yeah, that's it. Third place. I'm very glad. And let's see if I can make the next one.
I was going to say, you've got some fantastic circuits still coming your way in terms of the calendar. Are there any in particular that you're looking forward to?
Actually, I'm going to say no, because it's been very, very hard for me to practice and to maintain coming to the tracks, because my little girl is very ill, and I'm missing some races and almost have no practice. I practice for this race in the practice section today, so it's been hard.
Oh, bless you, Fausto. Well, obviously, we all send our best wishes to you, the family, and your little girl as well, and hope that she makes a full recovery as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for jumping in, though, tonight, mate, and well done, of course, on that podium. At least go and enjoy your evening, enjoy the moment, and we'll hopefully speak to you again in the near future. Have a good one, mate.
Thank you. Everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Oh, bless him. Bless him, indeed. That's the thing, though, isn't it, Peter? We often, we hear of outside of the sim elements coming into play here, and obviously real life always comes first before the sim, and that's something that I think the entire community will always echo. And obviously we do pass our best wishes on to Fausto and his family and his little girl.
Absolutely, and a podium, a way to just bring a little bit of shine a bit of light in there as well.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see, and great to see Fausto climb up onto the podium. Well, next up, joining us in the interview room here, the post-race interview room. Nobody's throwing any caps at each other, though, like they do in Formula One from time to time. Chaz Draco is down with the ever-happy Amrik Sastev.
Hello. Hello, chaps. How are you? Man, you it's lucky you didn't get on this thing before. I was effing and blinding, going crazy.
It's the man that's probably the best interviewee of the entire field, Amrik. That looked like a difficult night, mate. I think you expected it to be like that, though, eh?
No, honestly, it was crazy. I was just trying to stay out of trouble, right? I knew I was leading. I had about 6 seconds on Alistair, and I thought, just keep out of trouble, let the pros go past. And then they all started falling like flies in front of me. Honestly, they were absolutely shocking. And I ended up getting caught by him, and then I was trying to let the others go through, and then I let Stephen Kershaw go through, and he was on ice in front of me, and then Ryan was catching me, and I got 0 incident points on that second race. Can you believe that? Honestly,
that's an achievement in itself, to be fair, as I'm sure you're aware. But I mean, having a driver that's having a difficult time in front of you is never a good thing, but especially around here, because it's so difficult to see your apexes and exits, isn't it?
Well, especially when I bloody let him through when he was a pro. That's why I was letting him through. And then they just kept him crashing in front of me, hitting walls. If you watch the replay, he must have hit about 15 walls after I let him through.
You can't trust these pros, eh?
Mate, they're shocking. We need to have a C-class and stick them all in there. Oh, it was
we always know you'll say it how it is, Amrik. It's always a pleasure to have you in. What are your thoughts for the rest of the season, though? You feeling confident with the now we're into the second half?
Well, I'm not, and that's really why I wanted to speak to you, because I'm actually away from the 9th of December, so I'm going to miss the last 2 races.
Oh, so, the best 2 as well.
I know, and I'm a bit annoyed because obviously Sebring was rearranged from right at the beginning, and I could have done that initial one, but I was determined to get on the podium so I could come and chat to you guys, because the next race is going to be my last one.
Oh, bless you. Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on, Amric, and obviously it's always a pleasure to speak to you, mate. Hopefully the next one goes better for you.
Well, I think I'm going to just get 25 incident points and take all the pros out, so I've had enough.
Oh, my God.
All right,
well,
good to speak to you, mate.
See you again, Amric. See you soon.
All right. See you later, Peter.
Bye-bye. The man's an animal.
I hope that was in jest.
Who knew it? I don't think it was, I think the man has a dark side that's just emerged. I'm just going to wipe out all the pros.
We always know we'll have a laugh when we drag him into the booth, though.
Dear.
He's fantastic
It's that sort of nervous laugh. You go, you don't know if you're joking.
See you later, mate.
Right, time for one more, I think. Chaz, how about our championship leader?
Oh, do we have to? Christian Saruta, welcome to the box, mate. I said the word relieved before for how you must feel after that second race. It's not the way that we like to see the championship affected, but I imagine you did sort of breathe a sigh of relief late in the later stages there.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I would have breathed a sigh of relief wherever I finished. I think after that. It was fairly brutal, I think.
I think maybe the word is puckered for that one, maybe.
Yeah, my Instagram, rear end shots are just getting better and better each time I do these races, because I'm just clenched continuously. It's quite something.
I was going to say, I mean, this isn't the narrowest of cars either. It's nowhere near as narrow as the 991 Cup car was that we were using a couple of years ago in this championship. It's a big old beast now, the 992 GT3R. And how did it feel underneath you to drive around this circuit? Did it respond well to the bumps and the circuit itself, or was it too much of an animal in some places?
Well, for me, it felt continuously on edge, but looking at Johnny's pace, I was like, oh, we have a problem here. So when he disappeared from behind me, I was a bit like, oh, well, that's a shame, but thank God at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, I said it in the commentary at the time. We never wish that upon our competitors because, we all want a good, fair fight head-to-head on the circuit to decide a championship and to affect the championship. But, at the end of the day, when you are competing, there will always be that sort of slight relief, won't there?
Indeed. It was always good to get one up on get one over on Austin as well, isn't it? Just to get a little sneak past him. Doesn't happen very often, so I'll take that one.
Well, it's all in good camaraderie, Christian, and obviously you now have quite a healthy championship lead with the second half of the season well underway. Is there any specific rounds you're looking forward to in this sort of last run to the end?
Oh, very much Zanville. It's one of my favourite tracks. I've raced there a few times in the caterings and always went quite well there. It's a very, very, very cool circuit. And Le Mans and Sebring obviously will be good fun as well, but Zandvoort in particular I'm very much looking forward to.
Well, what you should have done there is what I call doing a povey and say, oh no, I hate Zandvoort, I'm rubbish at it, and then suddenly surprise everyone with an amazing victory.
I didn't say I was any good. I didn't say I was any good.
Yeah, fair point. But still, well, for me, I've always found the circuits I enjoy I'm worse at, but still, we'll have to wait and see, I guess, Christian. But it's been an interesting night yet again, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks very much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Well, the bogey is flying, Peter, and yeah, as I keep saying, relieved, I'm sure, after that one.
Yeah, it just shows you the emotions that the drivers go through, to get to the finish of a 25-minute race. Might say, 25 minutes, no problem, but around Detroit is so intense. The concentration required is enormous. And, well, what's Johnny Cullen going to be thinking going to bed tonight? Difficult.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it wasn't like it was a massive wild dive bomb or a crazy send or anything that you can look back on and regret. It's just one tiny decision to just come off the lock that much, to not just drag the car over to the right a little bit more, or, whether they did get locked together or not, we may be saying this, and they did actually have a tiny little sort of arch-to-arch contact that sort of glued them together before the sort of bigger hit that put him across the front of Greater X. So, yeah, I think he'll be ruining that moment, especially thinking about the knock-on effect it's going to have in the championship as well. It's really, really knocked him down in the points, and he will be frustrated with that one, but obviously we know what Cullen's like. He's a fantastic driver. He drives very, very well at the end of a season as well, so I'm excited to see how he bounces back from this.
Well, we'll find out and see how he bounces back in 2 weeks' time. Same time, November the 29th, we go to Zandvoort. We just heard that Christian Zeruta, championship leader, he's excited, and we are as well, to bring you all the action here on RaceSpot TV. Same time as always, 8 p.m. in the UK. And myself, Peter Mackay, and Chaz Draco will bring you the action as always. From us all here at RaceSpot TV, thanks so much for watching, and good night.